Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, he, she, and today's pick is Tidesong by Wendy Xu, a middle grade graphic novel published by Quill Tree Books in 2021. Content notes for parents yelling and perfectionism. Scrolling all the way back to my reviews from 2020, this is Wendy Xu's second appearance on this channel. The first time was for her illustration work on Mooncakes, a really cozy small-town paranormal queer romance. Based out of Brooklyn, Xu has another graphic novel entitled The Infinity Particle coming out later this year, so I must keep an eye out for that one. What keywords came to mind reading this volume? Coming of age, dragons, water, family, legacy, friendship, and transformation. Flipping over to the back, the summary is, quote, "The only thing harder than magic is friendship. Sophie isn't great at magic, but her family wants her to attend the best magic academy, and they send her to train with distant relatives. However, cousin Sage and Auntie Lan seem more interested in giving Sophie chores than in teaching her magic. Sophie attempts her own magic, but accidentally entangles it with the magic of a young water dragon named Lear, who is now trapped in human form. Lear is everything Sophie isn't, skilled at magic and beloved by Auntie Lan. If Sophie fixes her mistakes, she'll lose her best magic teacher. Will she make things right, or will Lear be stuck forever?" End quote. A pretty good summarization of things, if I do say so myself. Scrolling through the negative reviews to fill out my perspective, people seem to have two main complaints. First, that the plot didn't flow terribly evenly, and second, that our main character was an absolute brat. As far as plot goes, I can see a bit of a point. The beginning felt rushed and scant on important detail, which made the slower parts seem incongruous. That said, this wasn't apparently as much of a deal breaker for me than for them. The note about being a brat, though, I do think is highly subjective. For me, I didn't think that Sophie was the nicest person, but I did see a young child without much emotional intelligence, among many adults who did not have their shit together, learning about how to set boundaries, find her own sense of worth, and cooperate with others. Your mileage may vary. What everyone does seem to agree on is that the art for Tidesong is very good, and I strongly agree. Vivid colors, distinct character designs, some really pretty page layouts and backgrounds. It definitely gives T-Dragon vibes, although I'm a bit surprised by how many people brought up Studio Ghibli, which I assume was part of its marketing push that I missed because I think the comparison is a bit of a reach. Moving along to the examination of diversity and identity that I do in each of my reviews, reading through the story, I was most surprised and impressed by the way that Wendy managed to avoid the inclusion of any kind of sexuality. There's not a single couple as far as I could remember/tell. It's all about platonic relationships. Gender was similarly downplayed, if not as completely avoided. Racial diversity, as I usually discuss it, aka as a social construct, was not present or discussed. Instead, we are dealing with a fantasy setting where races are actually real things, something like humans and water dragons, with a little bit of variation in skin color. Culturally speaking, I'm not an expert on the dragons of Chinese mythology, so I'm not the one to say whether them being the inspiration Wendy drew on is appropriately done or not, but for once I did appreciate something being a bit one note. In contrast to the Witch Boy trilogy, that felt like a bit of a cultural and spirituality grab bag, which felt a little less than respectful in my opinion at least. Ability and disability felt largely ignored. Wrapping things up, I think I'll go with a 3 stars. Not as all ages as some middle grade, but that's fine. Bye y'all, keep reading and stand with striking workers. And Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, an Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.